Hello, and welcome back to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. My name is Cam, and we will now be reading Genesis chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her, and lay with her, and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled with Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, and lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto him, We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised, then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the houses of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, These men are peaceable with us. Therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us, for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? Well, I don't want to smile after that. Just I'll stoic. I'll be stoic. Summarizing chapter 34. So this one is a bit heavier. Um, Leah's daughter Dinah went out to see the daughters of the land. They are in Canaan. Shechem, the prince of the area, saw her, took her, and defiled her, meaning the prince assaulted Dinah, Leah's daughter. He was drawn to her and spoke to her tenderly. And then, after he did this, he told his father, the ruler of the territory, to bring Dinah to marry him. When Jacob learned that his daughter Dinah was assaulted, he waited to tell his sons. Sh- Shechem's father, Hamor, the guy who assaulted the guy that assaulted Dinah, his father went to Jacob and spoke with him. Jacob's sons found out what Shechem, this assaulter, did. An outrageous thing he should not have done. In verse 8, the assaulter's father, Hamor, told him that his son wanted to marry Dinah. Hamor says that he would like to become one people, marrying each other. The land and his possessions would be freely available, but Jacob was already wealthy. He didn't need that. But Hamor tells Jacob that he will pay whatever bride price that he's asking for. In verse 11, Jacob and his sons tell the man deceitfully that Dinah can't be given to uncircumcised men. And Jacob and the sons, they tell Hamor, if you tell your son and all the men of your city to be circumcised, circumcise themselves, then we'll give Dinah to your son, and we can marry your women, and we can become one people. They deferred not in verse 19, meaning they hurried up and did what was asked of them because the assaulter wanted to marry Dinah so badly. It also says in verse 19 that Shechem was the most respected man in the house and all of his father's houses. Hamor told all the men in the city to get circumcised and explained that they wanted to mingle and dwell with the family and they wanted to have access to their possessions because Jacob was a wealthy man. Verse 25, while the men were sore, Simeon and Levi, Leah's two sons, killed all of the men. They killed the father Hamor and the assaulter Shechem. They took Dinah out of the house and they left. The sons of Jacob in verse 27 plundered, looted, and spoiled the city because of Dinah, because she was assaulted. They took all of the cattle, all of the money, all of the women and children. In verse 30, Jacob is angry because he feels like they went overboard by killing all the men in the city and taking all of the things in the city. And he tells them that this will cause trouble, making me to stink. That's what he's saying. It'll mess up my reputation and it'll make us unfavorable in this land. And that if these people were to join forces, they will crush us because we are few. And in verse 31, they have no remorse. They say, should he have treated Dinah like a harlot? No remorse. There are some highlights. Dinah, the reason why, because I don't want to say it like this, but the environment that orchestrated that, the environment that led Dinah, the choice, that's the better word, the choice that led Dinah into an unsafe situation was her pursuit of female relationships. We have to remember, Dinah has 11 brothers. There's no other women around her. She's the youngest, and well, she's the youngest girl. She's the only girl, and the only other women are Leah, Rachel, and the maids, handmaidens, whatever. So she's in a new city. She wants to see, you know, are there any other girls around her age? Went out to pursue a female bond. She desired to have pure relationships. And this quest for female companionship became an environment for Dinah to get assaulted. Um, then I'd like to discuss the word choice for Dinah's assault. So, the the R the R word that is a synonym for assaulted, it's what was used in most English versions. The English Standard Version used the word humiliate, lay with her and humiliate her, and the King James Version uses defile. Defile is the word that is used in the King James Version. And although it does mean to corrupt purity or perfection, we also have to remember that there's usually multiple definitions for most English terms. Defile also means to violate the chastity or virginity. Chastity does mean purity, but it also means abstaining from sex or not participating in sex. The book of Genesis was written by Moses, who is a man, and this was around 400 BCE. And the King James Version was not a translated into the King James Version until 1611. So defile was the word that was used here, but just want to underscore that there's multiple terms, multiple definitions for one term, and that because a man wrote this, men can understand that certain things are wrong, but number one, there is limited language during the time he wrote this. And secondly, as a man, men can understand that it's wrong, but they may not always be able to translate things or word things to capture it as accurately as or as pretty as maybe a woman would like for it to be. But that word choice is simply because a man wrote it. There wasn't a whole lot of language, and the translation is just to be as close to the original as possible. Defile is an older term and it has multiple meanings. The R word was not used until the 14th century in 1301, but the definition of that has changed over the years as well. And for women's issues, having men defining women's issues with lexicon, there will be some discrepancy there. But the word defile means to violate someone's chastity, to violate someone's will to abstain from sex. That's what defile means in this case. And it's just an antiquated term. Does not reflect the view of anyone in particular. It's just the word that was used. There was not a lot of language, okay, to describe details. The last thing to highlight, Jacob deceived Dinah's assaulter by telling them that everyone had to be circumcised before Shechem could marry her. This weakened the entire city of men so that they were easily slain. Circumcision was only a covenant given to Abraham and his offspring. Abraham had two brothers, Nahor and Haran. In Genesis 17, verse 10 through 14, Abraham was given the covenant. Genesis chapter 17, verse 10 through 14. It was a covenant for Abraham. But these men that did not receive this covenant, circumcising these men weakened them to be slain. Everything is not for everybody. Just because God told one person to do something as their covenant doesn't mean that everyone is supposed to follow suit. These men did not have an encounter with God telling them to do that. So that's where that that's what that is right there. I'm trying to insert my opinions less and less as well as I can because I didn't write this and I am attempting to read through it the first time, reading the whole way through, not just one book that I'm interested in, and I just don't want to insert anything. But just remember that circumcision, it was only for Abraham and his lineage. It was not for these other men. And these other men doing it led to them being slain. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video up until this point. I have enjoyed reading chapter 34. I look forward to uh, coming back. I look forward to reading chapter 35. Thank you for watching. Even you, White Raptor. If you're watching anymore, if you haven't got upset with me and unsubscribed, but even if you did, hey, thanks for all uh, the watching that you did do up until that point, right? At least there was one person out there. Have a good night.